Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, counsel, and co-counsel. Members of the jury, I want to start off by thanking you. I want to thank every one of you for coming down here in that big panel, for coming back to the small panel we had last week, and for coming in this courtroom and sitting in those chairs and hearing some of the most horrific facts of a case that you can hear down here. And so I thank you for that. When we talked in jury selection, you didn't know any of the facts of the case, and we couldn't tell you about the facts of the case. So everything was a hypothetical. So when we start testimony this week, that's when you finally get to see what happened to little Sharon. And that's what this case is about. This tiny little girl who had a tragic life, orphaned in India, living in an orphanage. Not much to eat there. I think Dr. Daigle said they had coffee creamer, just stuff to barely get by, barely to survive on. It's a poor part of the country. And this little baby was raised in that orphanage, and then she got her big chance. She got a big chance. She had someone that walked through the doors that said, we'll take her. We'll take her and we're going to give her a good home. And we're going to make sure she's healthy, and has food, clothing, she can grow up and go to school, go to college, all the things that we want for our children, right? But that's not happening. It didn't happen with her. At that small age of 3, and what should have been an ongoing life, when she was this tiny girl in India, to where she was this 3-year-old child here, this was supposed to be the beginning. This was supposed to be the man that was to protect her. This is supposed to be a father. He should have loved that little girl and done anything to protect her. He didn't. And let's talk about Wesley Mathews. Let's talk about the 2 Wesley Mathews. There's the one that you saw this week on the stand, and you heard the evidence when Detective Diaz interviewed him. You heard his first story on the body cam, where he put her out where the coyotes are, and maybe a coyote ate her. You heard the second story after Detective Diaz interviews him again. The story then changed. And then, when he gets on the stand, he comes up with a whole different story. This time he's providing CPR for her. He can't find his phone, so he couldn't call. That was nothing like he testified to before. But the one thing I want you to remember about all of his testimony, with her choking on her milk and dying, that the ME, Dr. Ventura, told you it's medically impossible for a child of 3 years old who's standing up to choke to death and die. It's not possible. So what does that mean to you as jurors? It means he is still a liar. It means he killed that little girl. And when he killed her, he panicked. And his path was clear. He thought it through. It wasn't some spur of the moment, oh my gosh, I'm so fearful. No. He turned off location services. He made sure he cleaned up everything, put her body in the bag. He drove around looking for a place to dump her. He knew exactly what he was doing then. And there was no fear of CPS or no fear of Dr. Daigle. Dr. Daigle testified. She does this for a living. She's one of the few board-certified child abuse pediatricians in this country. This is what she does on a daily basis. Her only mission at that hospital is to make children well and to make sure they're taken care of and they're not abused. So when she gets called in on a case, it means that the doctors that are treating the child thinks there's something concerning here. I think we need to call in Dr. Daigle because she's the expert in this field. So she met with Sharon. She reviewed all of her records, all of her exams, all of her blood work, and what did she do? She did exactly what she was supposed to do. So she reviews that very first broken bone, the elbow, which was in September. She reviews that. She really didn't have any concerns on that. Little Sharon had surgery, and they repaired the elbow, and she was able to see it later in the full skeletal survey that she did in February. And why is that important? It's important to show that Sharon's bones were healing. She's able to heal. She even went further than that, and she did a whole blood panel. She ruled out scurvy, rickets, TB, anything that anybody could come back and say, well, what about this? What about this? Did you check this? She checked every single thing. And what proves that is that first skeletal survey in February. That elbow was healing. But what else did she see? She found 5 broken bones. Both shoulders, elbow, femur, tibia. 5 broken bones. And of a period of about less than 8 months. And the most concerning thing about that to Dr. Daigle was the various stages of healing. And I asked her, Doctor, why is that so important? And she said, because I know that it was several different injuries. They didn't occur all at once, like being in a car wreck and having 3 or 4 broken bones. One occurred, and then another broken bone, and then another broken bone, and then another broken bone, and then another broken bone. 5 broken bones in that short time she was here, with no valid explanation for them. No history given that she was in a car wreck or any of that stuff. No way to explain them. And actually Wesley, he's on the stand, he even denies that. He doesn't believe Dr. Daigle because he believes she's just out to get him. CPS and Dr. Daigle have this conspiracy to go in and try to railroad Wesley Mathews. And that's just not the case. The medical records are in evidence. And if any of you want to look at them, you can. Or you can believe Dr. Daigle's testimony. Because she told you what she saw. She conferred with many people, especially radiologists, who that's what they do for a living, they look at bones. So that's the tragic little life that she had. And what Wesley Mathews wants you to do is think he is this great father. He puts on all these witnesses of every time I saw him in church, he was taking care of his family, he's so protective, all this stuff. And all the pictures that he brought in, there was somebody else taking those photos. So, of course, he was on his best behavior. That's the public Wesley Mathews. You saw a piece of that this week. In the public, he tries to maintain that he is this great family man and great father. But that's not what's happening behind closed doors. Because very few people went over to that house. That child was abused for her entire life here in the United States. Dr. Daigle tried to protect her, called CPS. CPS did an investigation. And by the time around July, when Sharon quit going to the clinic, it quit going to the WIN clinic because she was gaining weight then. And that's what any parent would want their child to do, is to keep gaining weight and to grow into a strong little girl. They took her out of there. They took her out because Dr. Daigle had called CPS on them. And they took her back to the pediatrician that had been Sharon's pediatrician before all of these broken bones. Went right back to him. And then what happens after that? What did Dr. Daigle say? 3 months later, she's dead. And I asked her, how did that make you feel? And she said, angry. Because she tried. She did all she can do. Once they make a CPS report, doctor's out of it. They can't make anybody come back. They can't make anybody do the right thing by their children. So she has every right to be very, very angry. So the Wesley Mathews that his family knows and his friends from church know is not the real Wesley Mathews.
10 minutes.
Thank you. The real Wesley Mathews is the father that buried her in this culvert. This is where she was buried. After 3 short years in this country, she ends up in a culvert, not a quarter of a mile away from his house. So for all the man hours, Detective Diaz talked about that. They had FBI, they had Garland, they had Richardson, they had so many other agencies coming in. All these men and women. They're searching frantically, hoping to find this little girl alive. And he's lying every single day. He knows exactly where she is, and he knows exactly what's happening. She's rotting in that culvert. She was so decomposed that the ME can't tell us how she died. There was nothing in her. There was no organs. There was no stomach, no liver, no heart, no brain. There's nothing left of her. Her teeth had fallen out. He covered his crime. He got away with that by covering it. So as we sit here today, I'm going to remind you a little bit about what we talked about in board hour. I qualified you on the full range of punishment. I said SBI can be anything. It could be a broken bone, it could be a scar, it could be a cut, it could be a burn, all the way up to death. Even a horrific death. So there's a wide range of punishment. Every single one of you I talked to individually, every single one, if you think this is the right case, can you give a life sentence? Every single one of you told me yes. That was very important to me, because this is that case. This is that life case. This is the one where you know this is the right thing to do, and I'm going to do it. And that's why you're sitting here today. And so when you go back and you're deciding your verdict, we're asking you to take the verdict page where it says life and give him life. Nothing less. He doesn't deserve anything less, especially after he got up there and lied to you repeatedly over and over, and he shows no remorse. No tears for Sharon. The only remorse he has is because he's sitting over there in that chair right now. Thank you.